Yeah.
Set, go.
You're in.
All right, Wednesday, I'm back as promised. Guess what? It's another rainy day in April, and we're stuck inside. Today we are going to do a redo because we had some technical problems the last time we were here. Yeah. So we're not going to get cute. We're just going to deliver you the facts here today. So I want to go back and redo this bread. We had a fail on multiple levels, but I don't think you could really hear me talk about how to do the braiding for the braided bread. And when I was mixing up this dough last time, I screwed up too because I was doing it and then somebody interrupted me and I forgot to put the salt in, so it came out a little wonky, but I'm going to show you what we're going to do with that too. So this is a challah bread. I did make it with the starter that we've keep working off of here. And this has melted butter and eggs in it, which is a little bit different from the other sourdough and breads that we've been making. So I'm going to need a little bit of flour. Okay. To make the braided bread, you need 3 rope pieces. So this bread, the dough was put together and then it proofed for a couple hours because it's cold out today. And now I'm going to roll it, form it, and let it rise again before it goes in the oven to be baked. So these need to be kind of even, tapered out to the ends, and then you're going to put them up here like this. Okay, and then you just join the 3 together by mushing it. Oh no, yeah, you'll come out here and get this. And then you're always going to work from, oh, wait, 4. Hold on, redo again. You have 4 of these. You could do it with 3, but I'm going to show the 4 braid method.
See, it's not just the cameraman.
Oops. When I put it out there and I was like, you're always going to work from the left, I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? I was working from the left. Okay, so let's just do this quick because we have it. So you could either just do regular 3 braid, okay, and you're going to get like a twist. All right, but the traditional 4 braid method is done with 4 pieces, not 3, and you always work from the outside, so my left to right. So it goes over, under, and over, and then you bring the 4 pieces down again, and you start out here. Over, under, over. Get your 4 pieces back down. Over, under, over. Look at your 4 pieces, and I'm going to do one more. Over, under, over, and then join this to the back. And that just looks a little bit nicer than the 3 braid. And I put this on my sprayed pizza stone. This is going to rest right on the thing that it's going to cook on. It's going to cook at 400 for about 30 to 35 minutes. And you want to cover that with your napkin, like so. And put it somewhere warm, which today is going to be back here by the oven. That's the warmest place in the house. Okay, so here's what ours looked like, and you could see that this isn't right. It's a little bit dry. It's also been here a day or 2. It just didn't cook properly. So what can you do with this bread now that we have all this leftover bread? One thing you can make is bread pudding, which this is what it looked like when it baked down here. I'm going to finish this off with a secret surprise when we get done with this. But before that, I just wanted to show, I was thinking about toad in the hole, which is like you crack the egg and cook the egg inside the bread. But I had this little piece of bread, and so I was looking for a small cutter, and then I found this really cute sheep cutter. And I thought, oh, I'm going to try that. Maybe like you could find a dinosaur or sheep or 4-leaf clover or something else and cut that shape out. Nope, not fail. Another fail. All right, well, you're going to do better than I do. Let me try with this one. Cut the shape out. Terrible. It sat here and dried out. Let me try it with a fresh piece. Live. Watch the chef screw up and start over. Maybe this isn't going to work. Well, not so great. All right, fail. Okay, so what else do you make? Make French toast. This is supposed to be toad in the hole, but it's not going to work. How am I going to make this work? Anyway, This is just milk, egg, vanilla, cinnamon sugar. Okay, this is a great thing to do with your stale bread. Basically, we're going to make French toast. So you're going to put it in here. And the one thing people fail on French toast all the time is they don't let the egg mixture soak enough into the bread. And it's really dry. But the point is you're using up kind of day-old stale bread. So you want to make sure that that mixture gets sucked into that bread. Otherwise, you're just going to have dry bread. And nothing Frenchy toasty about it. Now, some people make the French toast bake where they layer this overnight and they leave it overnight with fruit like bananas and blueberries in it. And then they don't cook it till the next day, which is a great tip for if you want to make Mother's Day casserole brunch French toast. You could make it the night before, let it sit in the French toast batter. And let's see what happens when we go over here. I'm going to put a little butter in this pan that I had on warm. And French toast. You guys don't know how to do this. I'm going to layer this in. And try to make it look like the whole. If you had a bigger piece of bread and you could do the cookie cutter thing, I think that would be really cute to do with the kids. Right, so while that's cooking on one side, you go ahead and crack an egg right into the middle there. Let that cook away. And then you got to do the brave flip. Let's see what we got in here. Let's go with the big guy. I'm trying to let some of that egg run off in hopes it'll bind my 3 pieces of bread together there. But done right, this is called toad in the hole. This is done. Oops, my bread was stale. So, I don't know.
It needs a minute.
All right, so you make French toast and you always end up with like batter that's left over like this. What are you going to do with this batter that's left over? Well, the stuff that's in French toast is basically the same recipe that is in bread pudding. So this is, I'm going to give you this over on our YouTube channel, John Had a Fetto. I'm going to give you the recipe for the caramel nut bread pudding that we had in the restaurant. It's actually a recipe that my mom and I got at a food conference down in New Orleans, oh my God, like maybe 30 years ago. We went to a big party at the Mardi Gras World and they made this French toast. So it's authentic Southern Louisiana style French toast. This is not going to work. But anyway, you could dip that into this batter. Oh, how'd the egg get sunny side up again? Come on now. Someone will eat it.
That's good.
That's not too bad. Yeah. It's okay. So we have all this bread. And you can do this with any kind of stale bread. And we're going to just cut it up into cubes. And put it in a separate bowl before we add the batter to it. I like cutting it in cubes because you get this nice texture, which we're going to then just cover up with the caramel topping. But we made this with Pepperidge Farm Rolls in the restaurant. I think that they came out really nice, or King's Hawaiian, a really soft roll. But with this bread that's a little harder, I'm gonna just tell you one tip on it when I get to that place. So it's about 5 ounces of bread. So I don't know what that is, maybe 2 cups of bread for this recipe that I'm going to give you. And then we're going to have this other leftover bread as our egg. Breadcrumbs.
I'll check on the egg for you.
You'll leave me right there. Okay. All right. So this mixture here is milk, melted butter, sugar, egg, 1 egg, not a lot of egg, 1 egg, vanilla, cinnamon, and I have this butter shots. It's left over from the bar. It's butterscotch liquor, so I'm going to use that, but you could use anything. You could use brandy, you could use Kahlua. You don't have to put anything, you don't have to put this in at all if you don't want. You could add chocolate chips, you could add bananas, you could add blueberries, you could add apples. Maybe not apples and chocolate chips together, but you get the point. So this mixture gets poured over here, And this is going to go into, what are you, cheating? This is going to go into a casserole dish, but here's what I want to say about this. Now, if you use the soft rolls, you don't want to break it up as much like this because you're just going to make mush. You're going to have like breadcrumb mush, and you're not going to get this nice texture with the pockets of the cinnamon and the sugar inside the custard. But this bread is a little bit harder and more stale, partially because it's whole wheat too, but partially because I told you I made a big ooze. So we're going to spray this pan, and I'm going to put this mixture in here, but I'm not going to put this in the oven for probably like half an hour because I want this to really soak up all that goodness in there and get it inside the bread. Like I could feel that it's not inside this bread right now. But when it gets soft enough, when it absorbs all of this liquid, then it will be able to go in a very, very medium, I'd say 350 oven for about half an hour. So kind of push those top pieces down and let them soak that up. And that actually came out to be exactly the right amount for that. So that's good. It's kind of hard altering some of these recipes that we had in the restaurant because when we made this in like 3 full hotel pans at a time. That's how much of this bread pudding that we served. So it's really hard for me to take those recipes from the restaurant and trim them down to something that's manageable for you. So if you're doing any of these and you find something weird about them, just let me know and I'll see if I could tweak it again. But this one looked like it came out to a pretty good amount there. And how'd you do over here? What do we got?
That's good.
That's not too bad. All right, so you put a little syrup on that, or bacon, or I think the other way. I'm going to try it when I make another whole loaf of bread. I'm going to try this. We're going to do another redo. I'm going to try that again without cutting out a shape of an animal or something and see how cute that comes out with the egg in there. So this is going to sit and not go in the oven yet. Probably about the same amount of time as that bread. But what I wanted to show was I did this thing today with a can of sweetened condensed milk. Now this is going to be like Christmas here because supposedly you can put the can of sweetened condensed milk into boiling water, covered, like that was covered with water, and boil it for an hour. And when you open this, you should have caramel sauce. So we're going to see, because that's what I had. I didn't have heavy cream to make the caramel sauce. So I'm going to see if this works or not. And if it doesn't work, then there's another option. We can go to option 2. But
how long did you boil it for?
I boil it for an hour, but you have to make sure that the can stays under the water for the full hour, and guess what? It works. So I had another pan of water next to it. I just kept topping it off. I set a timer for every 20 minutes, and I came out here and I worked on that. Sweetened condensed milk. I had it left over from Christmas, something that we did at Christmas time.
Aldi's has that. Aldi's so
small
sweet.
cans of it. Yep. And you could see it turned it into caramel sauce, which is great. So you couldn't see what this tastes like. It tastes like caramel sauce. Okay, so the caramel sauce that we put on top of the bread pudding in the restaurant was actually this German chocolate frosting product that we got out of New York. But this I'm going to make today by mixing caramel sauce with some walnuts, because we call it caramel nut bread pudding. But the secret thing that was in it was that toasted coconut that came in the German chocolate frosting. So I also had some coconut left over from the other day. I don't know if you guys remember me doing the coconut. So I'm going to mix a little bit of that in there. Stir it up. I can't believe that condensed milk did that.
Yeah.
That's so cheap, too. I mean, how about 30 cents a can right there? And then this goes on top of the bread pudding. And this is the bread pudding that we made at Rainbow Gardens Restaurant and Bar for years and years and years. It was really popular. Now, we would just warm this up a little bit. You could warm it up in the oven before you put the caramel sauce on it. You could eat it warm out of the oven with the caramel sauce on it, or you could heat it up in a microwave for, I don't know, about like 1 or 2 minutes. And sometimes we serve this with ice cream on it as well. But, what's up Wednesday? All right. What's up Wednesday? I got for you distance learning. Distance learning. I know I've seen a lot of comments from people how challenging this distance learning thing is. I myself am taking an online course, and I had to teach myself how to do something today. We had a final project due tomorrow, and then it was like a cumulative event that we've been making paperwork for months now. And I had it all ready to go in my little binder, you know. Each file had its own little pocket, did one assignment every week. Well, guess what? I can't mail that binder to my instructor, and I can't send it through the computer. So I had to teach myself how to use Google Binder today. And I have to say, I probably wasn't feeling great this morning, so it wasn't working out too well for me. But fortunately, I have a computer genius living in my house, and he was able to come and show me. I watched a video, but I just couldn't get what this woman was doing on the video. So my son came and he showed me almost instantly how to do two things, and I had to like manipulate some charts and get some stuff off of one computer and move it over to another thing. But my point is, none of us are too old to learn, and there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to have to do with technology. And my suggestion is to just garner some patience and do the best that you can and make it happen. You know, and if you have a question, shout it out. Maybe I can find the answer for you. And John, what did you want to say about that?
Well, I'm not going to come on camera because but I actually got called back to work special ed at Platt Tech, and I've had the experience of going on to distance learning classes, and I'm telling you, those teachers are my heroes. I was in an auto class today, and the teacher was going out to his garage and going into his car and trying to keep these kids interested. I actually had to do a couple of Google Meet classes myself, and these kids don't want to turn their cameras on, and why would you? You know, they don't want anybody to be seen, but I kept my camera on, and you know, I mean, these guys are doing song and dance and everything they can to entertain the kids. It's new to them, and I salute them. And any teacher out there watching, or any parent that is wondering what these teachers are going through, it's not easy. It's as tough for them as it is for your kids. But
so if you find yourself eating caramel out of a can or drinking more wine than usual as you navigate your way through this, give yourself a break. It's hard. It's definitely hard.
yeah. Hats off to the teachers and the kids.
Until we eat again.